Hello students, today our topic is metaphysical poets. Before entering into the video, please like and subscribe my channel. Okay, and let's start with metaphysical poets. T.S. Eliot's opinion about these poets. The famous concepts of unification of sensibility and disassociation of sensibility is described by T.S. Eliot on this metaphysical poets. So what is unification of sensibility? Sensibility here defined as a synthetic of faculty in which you amalgamate thoughts and feelings. In simple sense, fusing together thought and feelings. For example, when a writer thinks about a red rose, he should be able to smell it also, or he should able to feel that fragrance of that rose. This is called uniting or fusing or mixing up of thought and feelings. This is the simple definition of unification of sensibility. When a writer is able to unite his thought and feelings and can fuse them into a single whole where there is contradictory ideas, it is called unification of sensibility. By this, Eliot means that when even though there is two opposite ideas, a poet should able to mix up or fuse them together as a single whole or in a single line. He has to join together two opposite ideas. This is called unification of sensibility. For example, in John Donne's poem Valediction, A Forbidden Morning, two lovers are compared to the axis of or the ends of one compass. Here, lovers or husband or wife are compared to the ends of or the axis of one compass, and they are joined together by only by their love. Here compass and two persons are compared. Two opposite or two contradictory ideas are combined in a single line. This is called unification of sensibility. Another example is bracelet of brown hair above the bone. Bracelet of brown hair above the bone. Contrasting images are joined in one single line. Hair and bone. Two opposite or contrasting ideas are joined in a single line. This is called unification of sensibility. Even though they seem to be opposite or contradictory, still they are in a single whole, or they are joined in a single line and considered as a single unity, one unity. And this quality of unification was there with the Elizabethan poets and early Jacobean poets. This ability was there with Donne and other metaphysical poets. This is the definition of unification of sensibility given by T.S. Eliot in the poem in the article Metaphysical Poet. Another concept is disassociation of sensibility. This is the opposite of unification. That is, there was a period in English poetry when poets were not able to join their feelings and thinking. After the period of early period of the Jacobean poets, that is after 1630 and till the Victorian period, there was a break for this joining of feelings and thought. According to T.S. Eliot, in the poems of Tennyson, Browning, and in all the other romantic poets, we can see this problem, that is, they can either think or feel. For example, in the T.S. Eliot says that during the period of Milton and Dryden, poets poets can only think, they cannot feel. And during all the romantic poets, the poets can only feel, they cannot think. This is the problem with Victorian poets and poets of Enlightenment age. This problem is called disassociation of sensibility. After John Donne's period, there came a period of enlightenment. Or they can during that time they can only think, not feel. And during the period of romantics they can only feel, not think. So during these two subsequent ages, poets suffered due to this problem of disassociation of sensibility. And there came another better period during the modern age. T.S. Eliot feels that again this unification of sensibility came after 1900s, and during this modern period there is a unification of sensibility among the poets of modern age. For example, his own poem Wasteland, there is a mixing up of both thinking and feelings. In Wasteland, it was filled with metaphors and allusions. So we can, and these were joined together as a single whole. And this ability was also there in the French writer Charles Baudelaire. So T.S. Eliot is appreciating this French writer Charles Baudelaire. T.S. Eliot calls modern poets as the direct descendants of metaphysical poets. This current of unification of sensibility flowed from Elizabethan poetry till modern age, and there was a break during the period of Milton and Dryden. For T.S. Eliot, he says that for this unification there was a destruction for this ability during the period of Dryden and Milton, because these two poets they can only think, not feel. That's why Eliot calls them great masters of language, no, but not of the soul. So this is the concept of dissociation of sensibility, in which poets cannot unite thinking and feeling. They can only do one thing at a time. Next concept is T.S. Eliot's ideas on metaphysical poets. So after the works on these metaphysical poets only, though they got much popular attention among readers in the modern period, and Eliot's ideas of these poets, that is metaphysical poets, are completely against the ideas of Dr. Johnson on these poets. For example, Eliot calls these metaphysical poets as great and mature poets. For him, they don't digress from the mainstream of poetry, but they made a continuation of the mainstream. But for Dr. Johnson, he said that these metaphysical poets can neither think or feel or write. They had deviated from the mainstream of poetry. This is what Johnson said on metaphysical poets. For Eliot, these poets used similes and metaphors to a maximum extent. They have used these two figure of speeches elaborately in their poetry. This is what this feature only makes this metaphysical poetry a beautiful one. But this character is not considered a good one by Dr. Johnson. These Donne and Herbert Spencer, etc. These all poets mixed all the different ideas, contrasting ideas into a single whole. For example, bracelet of brown hair above the bone. Bone and hair are two contrasting, very different ideas, and these are joined in most of the poems by Donne. These very different contrasting ideas are joined together, and this is a beautiful feature of metaphysical poet according to T.S. Eliot. But according in the words of Samuel Johnson, most heterogeneous ideas yoked together by violence. This is the main fault of metaphysical poets in the view of Samuel Johnson. They are taking softness away from poetry. But Eliot feels that this mixing of different ideas through violence was a trend in the Elizabethan dramatists also. For example, Shakespeare, Middleton, and Webster they enormously used the concept of tragedy or violence and bloodshed and death. All these dark ideas were used elaborately by other Elizabethan dramatists.